There are three things which we need to do. One is Shravan, second is Manan, third one is Nididhyasana. Shravan means hearing. The Guruji teaches you have to hear. Second is Manan, contemplate on the subject. The contemplation on the subject is essential. What is being taught? Contemplate on the subject. Third thing, can you apply it in your life? So we are doing Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse 11. The Karma Yogis perform action only with their senses, mind, intellect and body as well, without the feeling of mind in respect to them and shaking of attachments, simply for the sake of self-purification. Karma Yogi is not at all like a Sankhya Yogi. See, understand, the main difference is a Sankhya Yogi is a person who loves to read and understand the Vedas and the Shastras. So he is insistent, I want to know this, and that is why he wants to go and read the books. He wants to follow the path of knowledge. A Karma Yogi, on the other hand, is not interested in reading the books. He will do just a little bit here and there. His job is, I have to do certain job, that's it, period. So did you get this difference between the two? A Sankhya Yogi insists, I want to know this, I want to know that. Even in my case, what happens is, I have many people who will be after my blood. Can you teach me this book? Can you teach me that book? You have taught this person that book, so can you teach me that book? Well, that is Sankhya Yoga. Everybody is not born in the same way. Everybody's teachings should never be the same. Sankhya Yogi are minuscule in nature. They are very, very small people. They are number, in maybe 8 billion people that we have in this world, there may be about hardly 50,000 of them. And insisting that you have to teach me this or you have to teach me that is the stupidest thing a person can do. Because the mind, the brain and the intellect is not qualified for a simple understanding of a very, very complex subject. This is a complex subject. When the person doesn't know Bhagavad Gita, they want to try to learn the higher Gitas. They want to learn the higher subjects. And that is a very, very wrong thing to do. I had a person with me in the past, not now, many, many years ago. This person had the knack of going to bookshops, all different bookstalls, and coming up with every time some new book. Guruji, I want to know this. Well, you have curiosity, no doubt about it. Curiosity is good. But do you remember the previous book that we did? Not an iota of that is applied in the world. There are three things which we need to do. One is Shravan, second is Manan, third one is Nididhyasana. Shravan means hearing. The Guruji teaches you have to hear. Second is Manan, contemplate on the subject. The contemplation on the subject is essential. What is being taught? Contemplate on the subject. Third thing, can you apply it in your life? The application never happens. Absolutely no application in this world. And then they want to know, can I read the next book and the next book and the next book and the next book? Well, you don't even know the first one. What are you trying to read the 10th book? And I had to literally shoo this person away from my world. Because insistence on something when you don't know the first part of it is no good. It is like a person who is in first standard wants to go to the fifth standard, say straight away, double, triple promotions, and then go to the 10th standard and do the final examination. That is not the case. Everything has to be learned slowly and steadily. Karma Yogi is a person who may just take a Bhagavad Gita. That's it. He may just take the Bhagavad Gita, take one line from the Bhagavad Gita and follow it persistently. Karma Yogi is like that. The Karma Yogi just understands one line from any Sankhya Yoga. The line is this: there is a job that I got to do and I have to do it diligently. What does diligently mean? You have to do it every day in a clockwork precision. The same thing over and over and over and over again. It is like Shruti. You know, in the music, okay, when there is a music playing, there is one note which is consistent in the background, isn't it? It is there consistently. That harmonium or something like that is going on and it doesn't change. Why? That is the background. So the person who wants to be the Karma Yogi, the highest one of its kind, has to do the job assigned to that person literally like as if it's the last thing on earth that they have to do. Do it because you have been instructed to do. There is no reason to be given. There is no such thing as why should I do? I don't want to do this. I want to do a better job. I want this to be done. No. The I want means a desire. Remember, in the second chapter, third chapter, fourth chapter and the fifth chapter now, we are very clear about desires. Why does a person have a desire? Desire is the root cause of all evil. Please remember this. So the desires are going to kill you. Just do what you have been instructed to do. So Shri Krishna is instructing Arjuna, take your bow and arrow and shoot. That's it. Be a Karma Yogi. Do you think Arjuna was a Sankhya Yogi from any angle? That person was a big duffer in that world. He had no idea about Sankhya Yoga from any angle. He had absolutely no understanding of the subject. But he was a Karma Yogi. He was a soldier of the highest order. And 14 years in his life, when he was in that Aranya means a forest, when he went into the forest with his brothers and his wife and all, everything was happening in the forest. There was no such thing as fighting anything. Okay? But now, in the war, he has to revive what he had done 14 years ago, learn the art of taking a bow and arrow and shooting. That's it. Remember, as a kid, he had learned archery from Kripacharya, Dronacharya. These two guys, they were great ones. They taught him. And the same knowledge is now to be used in the battlefield. So Shri Krishna says, a Karma Yogi performs actions only with the senses, mind and intellect. What are the senses? The eyes, ears and all those things are the senses. The seeing, hearing, touching. He is supposed to do everything. Naturally, when doership comes into the picture, all the senses come into the picture. Correct? Then, with his mind. Why? Because when I have to deliver some job perfectly, I have to use the higher conscious state and the higher mind. If I want to use something, see, I want to achieve a highest objective in my life. Now, let us say for Arjuna, what is the highest objective just now? To win the war. Period. His job is to win the war. Now, he is not standing in the battlefield, I want to lose the war, I am the worst person on earth, I will never win. This is not what he is supposed to say. His job is to win the war. So, his ability with his hands, legs, all those things, isn't it? How does a person do archery? With his hands. Pulling the bow. You know, the arrow has to be pulled behind and then it has to be fired. And there are various other weapons that he has to use. So, his hands, legs, his brain, his mind has to be used perfectly. If he doesn't know the trajectory or the path of the arrow, then what is the use? Do you remember this? This is science for us. He should know exactly when he is pulling the arrow and then releasing it, it has to go and hit the object. So science comes into the picture. If you remember the past story where he hit the eye of the bird. Perfect shot. So now that perfect shot has to be given, and that is why he says the mind and the intellect has to be used. You have to use the mind and the intellect and your senses, all three to be used. Along with the body. Without the body, how can you do that? So you have to use these things, correct? So when you use this, but never ever say these words, I did it. I lifted the bow and arrow and I shot it. I killed Bhishma Pitama. I killed Kripa. I killed this one. No, sir, don't ever take onus of anything in this world. The moment you take onus of it, whatever action you do is not Karma Yoga. Please, it is not Karma Yoga, it is Karma. I am sure you by now know what is Karma and what is Karma Yoga. Karma means that which is going to give you future lifetimes. You are going to be reborn again and again and again and again. Karma Yoga is cutting off the karma. Destroying this karma by doing the action without taking onus of it. So never take onus of the action. Never say I did it. So never having this feeling of mind. Respect for shaking of attachments. And don't be attached to it. You know how attachment comes into the picture? Okay. The attachment comes into the picture when, oh, I have to do this. Why? Because I have been instructed to do this. Really? You have been instructed to do this? So that means, are you attaching something called attachment to it? Somebody instructed you to do your responsibility. So it is my responsibility. I have to do, they'll blame me for it. This kind of a thing a person does. When a person does this, it is called attachment. And then people have this saying, you told me to do it. Have you heard people talk like this? When a person fails in a job, they are never going to take the onus of failure. They will say, you know what? You knew very well I was not going to succeed and yet you gave me this job. I want you to think about it. Here Arjuna is being given a job. The job is to fight the greatest army in the world of Kauravas. If Arjuna keeps on saying, you told me to fight, you told me to fight, you told me to fight, and now look at this, I am failing, I don't know what I am going to do. Well, that is called attachment. Who do you think you are to do this? People don't understand that they are instructed by the divine to get this job done. It is called Swadharma. Swadharma means a job that is being given to you by God. God gives jobs, God gives you this particular thing and He says, do this. I mean, there is nobody who is going to stand in the heaven and say, hello, I am calling, this is God calling you. Okay, am I talking to XYZ? Yes. Now, these are my instructions, do this job. God doesn't call. There are certain things which are called Swadharma. People have asked me this question, Guruji, what is my Swadharma? Really? Well, if I tell you, go pick up that thing from the floor. Have you been given instructions, pick up that thing from the floor? It is called giving instruction. Here, Guru is the doorway to God. Please understand, he is only a representative. So he is telling you, pick up that thing from the floor. Don't question him. Don't ask him. Don't say, why should I do it? This is not something that I know. I don't know how to do this. Blah, 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 blah. Well, it is called Swadharma. The Guru knows what is the Swadharma of that person. So he says very simply, do this. People have the habit of asking, but Guruji, you have never given me any job whatsoever to do. You are telling me that I should do. But that is a stupid thing. Well, that stupid thing is your Swadharma. Maybe it is putting on a switch. That is your Swadharma. And yet, people have the habit of thinking, that is not my job. It's a stupid job of putting on switch. Huh? You are giving me this stupid job of putting. You know who I am? I am the greatest one in this world. I have got a brain of a great genius. And for a genius, you are telling that I should go and put on a switch? That is called ahankara. Karma yoga is not there in that person. Karma is there. So when a person denies something, when a person says, I can't do it because it is something I am not, not my job. Well, please remember one thing. You are not doing karma yoga. So, without the feeling of mind, in respect to them and shaking of attachment. This is called attachment. I am not responsible for this. Take responsibility. Don't bother. Yes, Guruji. Yes, my dear Lord. This is my job. I will do it humbly. Do it. Don't bother about the whys and the wherefores. And remember, the next verse will tell you what you are supposed to do. Simply for the sake of self-purification. Self-purification means every time when you do this without any of these queries and just do it because it has to be done, then you are removing all the dirt from your body. Remember, you are the diamond and that diamond has to be cleaned. So that cleaning is happening. So self-purification happens and then the knowledge inside becomes effulgent. It is like a mirror. Now, if I take a mirror and I coat it with black and then I start removing little black from it, the light comes outside, isn't it, from there? It's like that. You have become like a dusty mirror. When you do this work unconditionally, without raising even that I, me, myself, and why should I do it, then you are doing karma yoga. Self-purification happens and you move to the next level. Next level is always going to be more difficult than the previous level. The first level is always very simple and easy. The next level is tougher, tougher, tougher and tougher. And then the ego comes into play in the next level. And then the next level, more big ego comes into play. And then still higher, more bigger ego comes into play. And people who think that they are the closest to God, they think no end of themselves. Because their ego is the strongest. Because they feel, oh, I have put in so many years and I have done this job and really, the ego has come. The sense of doership has come. No way can you pass to the next realm. No way. That is how it is. We move to the next verse. So we are in Bhagavad Gita chapter 5 verse 12. Offering the fruits of action to God. The Karma Yogi attains everlasting peace in the form of God realization. Whereas he who works with a selfish motive, being attached to the fruit of action through desire, gets tied down. Now this is the verse which will tell you, every time when a person says, I am doing it, I am doing it, I am doing it, a person who keeps on repeating this, I am doing it, is very much attached to that word. The I, ahankara. And because of ahankara, they are going to remain where they are. And they will never rise. So in the next life, they will be born in a lower womb. They can never be born in a higher womb. That means they might be today here, they will be down there somewhere. And this is a very well-known, understood fact. Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna this. Any person who does his job for the sake of God, you have to do the job because God has instructed you to do. It is called Swadharma. Don't forget this word, because Swadharma is what God instructs you to do. And when you do your Swadharma, without raising even a single query, you have to do because you got to do. Think about it like this, If I say, if you come to my ashram and I say, go make a cup of tea. Now you may not know how to put on the gas, you may not know where to take the water from, you may not know where the tea powder is, you may not know where the sugar is, where the milk is, you may not know anything. But have you been instructed? It is your duty to go and do it. Find out. After you make the tea, don't ask, how does the tea taste? Don't ask this question. You do it. When you dedicate everything to God, don't bother about the taste also. Because once you have offered it for God, naturally it is God's desire, the way He wants it to work. Alright? Simply like that. You do some work, but when you do it for yourself, you say, I want to do it nicely, I want to do it nicely, I want to do it. Oh, you want to do it nicely? Your ego has already come. But when you want to do it nicely means what? Reverse the order of thinking. I am doing it for God. Offering it for God. It is anyway going to be nice. Got it? So don't bother about it. You have to just put in your efforts. Your 100% efforts is all you need to put in it. That's it. Don't bother about the rest of it. What is the result and all. So Karma Yogi is a person who does everything for God. Just like Sankhya Yogi. Remember? Same verse. But now it is for Karma Yogi. Difference is Sankhya Yogi studies. Karma Yogi doesn't study. This is the biggest difference. Remember this difference. The Karma Yogi's job is to do the karma. Keep on doing action. Dedicating all the action to God and not to himself. Not to saying that I did. No. Just do it. And when he does it, he gets everlasting peace. In the form of God realization. His peace is perfect. He does his job. He goes to sleep peacefully. There is no such thing as disturbance in his world. He has just done the job. There is a story which Ramakrishna Paramahansa says about this doing the job. So there is a farmer. He's a very poor farmer. Now the farmer goes out in the field. The young daughter goes around afternoon, 12 o'clock or so, and she gives him some little food to eat. So he tells his daughter, tie that food to the tree over there and leave it over there. And he keeps on digging in his field. Now he doesn't have bullock cart or anything like that, so he is not able to plow, so he has to do the digging himself. Now, suddenly it so happens in the afternoon or evening time, it starts pouring rain. Very, very harsh rain. And it so happens that he has made a bund. a blockage. You know, at the side you raise a little mud. So he has made a bund. Now the bund breaks. And if the bund breaks, the water can go inside the field and fill it up completely. So the poor fellow, he lies in that space holding the water up. First he tries with his leg, it doesn't work. Then he tries it with his hand, doesn't work. He tries it with mud, mud is also going away. So he has to lie down like this and the water keeps on flowing ahead. Late in the night, the mother says to the young girl, "Where is your father?" So she says, "My dad is working in the field." At around 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, this man comes home. He's totally muddy. His wife is asking, "What happened? Tell me." So he says, "I'm going to take a bath." He goes, takes a bath, removes the food that was lying over there. You remember, the daughter had tied the food to the tree. So he has brought it back home. And he keeps it over there, takes a bath, freshens himself up, cleans all the dirt, comes and sits over there in front of his wife and says, "Now feed me." He does what is necessary, eats his food, then he goes to sleep peacefully. This is Karma Yoga. A Karma Yogi does his job diligently. He may not even eat. He may not even drink at that time. He can even put his body to the worst of the circumstances. That means there can be a torturous thing also that can maybe happening. But he has to do that job. The job is very important. And the job's delivery is extremely important. So the water is not allowed to go in the field and the water goes away. The rain stops and he has come home. He eats his food, goes to sleep. That is peacefully. That is what is called everlasting peace in the form of God realization. The person gets realized in God. He knows what is God because he has done his Swadharma. As a farmer, he has done his Swadharma. That's it. Whether he is going to get something out of it or not is not important. The end result is never important. So, but there is another person who works for a selfish motive. The selfish motive is very clear. I want to do this because I will get money. I want to do this because I will do this. Every time when a person uses selfish motive, you know, Guruji, I am working in a company, I have to get my salary. That is called a selfish motive. Well, a farmer is working in the field, he is going to grow grains. Whether his grains are going to come or not is not sure. Correct? No? The whole year he may be working in the field. Whether the person is going to have grains for eating or no, nobody knows. But in your case, you are going to get clockwork precision every month salary. Maybe sometime in a year you may not get salary. Maybe 3 months in a year you may not get salary. Shouldn't matter. You have a job, you are doing it, you do it selflessly. So any person who is focused on the results or he who works with a selfish motive, being attached to the fruit of action. Attachment to the fruit of action. I am getting this money, that is why I am working. Should not be the case. Gets tied down because of this desire. So there is a desire and the person gets tied down in the desire and can never win this game of God realization ever in his life. He gets lost, ruined. Then rebirths after rebirths after rebirths after rebirths is going to happen. So we have come to the end of verse 12. We will stop over here.